Alrighty then, 97.5, it's Nova FM, award-winning community radio station for Newport. We have a special guest on the breakfast show this morning, John Campion. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yes, not too bad. We're in sunny Newport. What's the weather like by you?
Well, it's a bit overcast down at police headquarters in Worcester this morning.
Wow, where's that? I can never remember where that is.
Just by Junction 6 on the M5.
Oh, right, okay, so you're quite a way away.
We're about an hour or so, yes, but that's a great part of West Mercia. Many diverse communities spread across 3 counties.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for agreeing to come on to our wicked little community radio station. Really appreciate it. Right, John, tell me about you. Where'd you come from? What's your background?
Well, my background is I've been in local government for over a decade. I've been the leader of a council and have held the senior roles in local government, including looked after children and education. Outside of local government, my background's a high security prison system, and very far distance background was I worked for my family firm when I left university. So I've got a varied background. As part of my local government experience, I also sat on the police authority and was chairman of the finance committee for 5 years, and I sat on the fire and rescue authority. So I have quite a varied background that I bring to the job. You've
been about a bit just like me. I've been everywhere. Holiday parks, you name it, I've done it.
I haven't been holiday parks yet, but perhaps I have to set that as natural.
Great fun, really great fun. Relax the whole time. John, tell me, why did you take on the role of PCC?
Well, firstly, I believe the role of Commissioner should be representing the views of our communities, and I've been working hard getting out there across the force area, doing thousands of miles to make sure I'm connected with the community, because I believe this job should be about representing their views, and you can only do that if you understand them. And I want to be Commissioner because I want to make things better. I don't want to be custodian for 4 years. I actually want to improve the things that need improving, and I've got a vision for the force, and that's exactly what I've already set about delivering.
I did get that feeling from you. I went to the council meeting with you. I was stuck behind the fan, which was pretty good because it's quite warm in there, and yeah, I got the feeling straight away from you really do care. I got that feeling from you. So yes, I think it's difficult though, isn't it, because you've only got a certain budget to work with.
Absolutely, but this isn't just another job. We're dealing, and it sounds a bit melodramatic, but we're dealing with life and death services at times that our community rely on. So I want to make sure that we not only do the exciting part of policing really well, we also do the community policing, the bits of the quality of life to ensure that people can live happy and safe and fulfilling life in their own community. And for me, that's a real balance between the two, the operational essentials, as it were, of when things are going wrong, all the way through to how we improve people's lives.
I think it's also important to get out there that you actually aren't a police officer. You don't do any arresting or anything like that. All you are is the money man behind the police service. Is that correct?
Well, not just the money man, and you're quite right, I'm not an operational cop. I'm the representative of the community. There are 1.2 million people live in West Mercia, and it's my job to make sure the police service is delivering what they want. So we have an excellent Chief Constable that I've appointed over the last 6 weeks, and my job is to hold him to account as a professional officer, making sure our community get what they need.
Yeah, I mean, it must be difficult. I don't know why you put yourself up for it. It must be stressful. It's got to be stressful.
I'm exceptionally lucky. Whilst I'm really happy to work hard for my community, I'm exceptionally lucky. The force is made up of some high-quality individuals who are also committed to serving their community. I'm very lucky to work with them.
Okay, there's been some bad press recently about 101, the phone number 101, and I going to go from personal experience, because you hear everybody on Facebook and making their rumours and saying it's this, it's that, the other, but I'm going to tell you from my personal experience, I don't want to be ringing 101 because, you know, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I've never been in trouble with the police, and I had to ring 101, or I thought it was my duty to call 101 on an incident on the bypass here in Newport. Lorry had shed its load, it was causing a problem, so I dialed 101. This is probably about a year and a half ago. I waited for 22 and a half minutes. The phone was never answered. I then redialed for another 10 minutes, and I just gave up after then. So that was probably about a year and a half, maybe 18 months ago. So what happened to 101? I know know you're brand new in the job. You've only been in the job sort of 4 months, just over 4 months. So hopefully it's going to get better.
Well, first of all, 101 is a national system. So the first bit you go through is all controlled centrally, and then we in effect get the call at the other end to deal with. So we are slightly restricted about how it works. But ultimately, my drive is to get the right service for our community. And there are a few things that we should remember. The vast majority of the calls, over 90% of them, are answered, within 90 seconds. And that's a good level of performance. But what we do have, and you've just highlighted it, when something goes wrong, and for example, a lorry shedding its load is a good example of that, where we do then get a significant peak in calls, we are then dramatically seeing performance drop off. And so what I've got to do is ensure the police are being able to respond to that using other forms of communication, etc., to do that. Because ultimately I want our community to ring. If you feel as a citizen that you need to tell the police something in a non-emergency sense, then I want you to be able to do that. We will never abandon a 999 or a 101 call. We will always answer it. But we get that the times that you've quoted aren't good enough, and we are working hard to fix it. But the balance to that is it's not going to happen quickly. This is going to take a while for us to be able to fix, because it will involve new technology. It will involve us thinking about things slightly differently. But I would always say, if you need the police, ring us. If it's an emergency, 999, non-emergency 101. And whilst it might take us a while to answer that call, please do bear with us.
I've got to say, I did try it again about less than a week ago. I didn't want to ring 101 after that experience. People were fighting outside my house. I thought, I can't be backsided really to ring 101. They don't answer. But I heard what Peter Scott said. He said, ring 101. It's all we've got. And I tried it again a week ago, and I was really impressed. It's dramatically improved from the last time, restored my faith completely. I was on the phone less than 4 minutes, and the lady, I think it was from West Mercia, the lady from the control centre, she gave me the advice that I needed, and she took down the problem I had, and it was brilliant. So yeah, there's definitely, I think it was an improvement for me anyway from the last time to this time.
And that's really good to hear, because I want our community to have a good service, and we've got some dedicated, hard-working operators taking the calls. They're trying to do the best, and my commitment to them and to our community is I will make sure we give them the right tools to help them improve that performance. But as I say, I come back to the majority of the calls, over 90%, are being answered within that 90-second window. But what I do recognise is the outliers. When something's gone wrong and we're getting high volumes of call, we're not dealing with that effectively.
I understand that you do get an awful lot of calls, that, especially 999 calls about their, ridiculous calls. We've seen all the programmes on TV, What's Your Emergency, etc., and some of them are completely a waste of resources. I've seen it. We know it happens. I mean, what can we do to educate people not to call 999 or even 101 just to get your cooker alight?
Well, I would never tell our community if they think they're in need to not ring. I would never want somebody who is a victim or indeed under threat to not want to call us for help. It's a very careful balance between the two, because I do want citizens to think carefully to ensure that they are making the right choice between either the 101 or the 999 system. But ultimately, we will never tell anybody off for ringing us. We will always take their issue seriously, and we will do more to help support people to make those right choices and give them other options, whether it be via the internet or via other access channels that might be a bit more appropriate to them. But the message is still, if you as an individual think you need our help, then please do get in touch.
Yeah, I must admit, police force in West Mercia, or let's say the police force or the police in Telford and around Newport, I think, this is only what I think they do an excellent job. I really do. They've got limited resources. It's getting smaller and smaller. Money's getting less and less. And I think they do a great job. I mean, after all, we could have a worse police force, couldn't we? So
we've got a good, solid, performing police force, and we've got some great people that work in it, and my job is to help them go from being good to great, and I think I can do that with the right support over the next 4 years.
And one more, I'm just going to give you a quick, because you probably don't know a lot about Newport, but Newport's a really old town, and we had a police station here in Newport for close to 160 years. The old police station moved to the new police station on Wellington Road 52 years ago. We've had a police station, and we've always had a high visible police presence. Not only is the police cars parked outside the police station and the bobbies are walking up and down the streets, we've always had a police officer in and around Newport. That has changed dramatically over the last 2 to 3 years. Really has massively changed. We don't see a high police presence, and at night time we do have a lot of problems with drunken behaviour from all the clubs and that's a bit worrying for us here in Newport.
I don't want my communities in Newport to be worried. I don't want them to be in fear of crime. And I do recognise the role that police buildings have to giving that sense of feeling safe. Now, my predecessor allowed that decision to happen, and it's not for me to comment as to whether it's the right or the wrong thing. But what I will say is I'm committed to ensuring that the Chief has the right amount of resources to police our areas, including places like Newport. I absolutely believe that we need bases in our community for our police to operate from, but I also recognise that it is more sensible that we share buildings and we work with other partners such as town councils and the fire brigade to make sure that we are getting best value for money, and to make sure instead of funding buildings, I'm funding cops. And the running costs that they've saved from the building no longer being used as a police base is now being used to fund frontline cops, and I think that's a good thing. But ultimately, I do recognise that some of our community do see that symbol of a police station as being reassuring, and we will do all we can to make sure that we can also help them feel reassured in their community.
Yeah, it wasn't just the police station. We had a local bobby who was always in the town as well. I mean, the two guys that are working at the moment, they do a great job. They really do. They cover a huge area, but it's a big change, and the community are worried about it. I think the best thing we can do is advise everybody, get faith back in the 101 system, and try and report any crimes as much as we can, because a lot of people have lost faith in 101 around Newport. And I think the only thing to do, we've got a great new commissioner, I think we really need to start working together, a community and the police all together, and try and let's get a good resolve and get confidence back, I think.
Brilliant. And I will always say, if you've been the victim of a crime or there's some information that you think the police need to know, get in touch.
John, I thank you very much. I really, really appreciate you coming on the show. I know I got that feeling you really cared, and it proves it by coming on the show and talking to us today. And I really wish you all the very best, John, in your position.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
When I signed my deal, I felt pressure. Don't wanna see the numbers, I wanna see heaven. You say, could you write a song for me? I say, I'm sorry about you that I believe. When I go home, I tend to close the door.